I never got to do like the
Half-baked.
Jim Brewer half-baked thing. F you, you're cool. I've never done that.
I've never done
I've
that.
never quit.
Yeah, I
no,
never
but,
quit that way.
But I've never, I don't think I would quit that way anyway, but I've never quit a job.
I did
and I'm
walk
like,
out.
how can that be?
I walked out at Subway because there was I was the morning key.
Well, you were revealed as not being a true artist.
That is not
You
true.
lied on your
Sandwich
resume.
fake.
That
Yeah.
was very.
You were a sandwich fartist.
That is not true.
Oh.
I was very artsy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there was this, like, I had all the prep work done in the morning. I was very good at that job. And this lady that I worked with, she was like a lifetime
Sandwich artist.
jumping from like different fast food job to different fast food job. And she had worked there longer than me, but I got a key to be the opener, and it really bothered her that she wasn't being entrusted with the key. And
This is a key to the meats.
I was waiting, for customers to come in. We're getting close to lunch rush, and my buddy's there, and we're just chatting. As I'm a man in the front, all the prep's done in back, and she comes out and she goes, "You'll have to leave. Bill has work to do." And I was like, "The hell I do."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Screw you, I'm out." And so
That's
she
all
had
it
to,
took.
Wait, you
'cause
quit because of that?
I was like,
Probably didn't want that job very
I
much.
mean, it
anyway.
wasn't a job that I really wanted anyway.
Right.
I was kind of like done with it, but it was one of those things where I was like, oh, because there was a bunch of other little like petty things that she would always do. And I knew she wouldn't quit. And I knew that if I quit, she would be screwed because it was just me and her.
Yeah.
And so I got a call from the manager or like the owners. They're like, "We would love for you to come back." And I was like, "I'll come back if Corinne's gone."
Yeah.
And they're like, "We can't do that." And I was like, "All right, well,
Bye.
that's fine." Yeah.
I've quit every job I've ever had, but not in a bad way. Like, I've never quit a job and not had another one lined up.
I mean, I guess I left. Yeah, when I got the job in Pittsburgh, I was leaving my radio station in Kalamazoo, Michigan, but I don't think of that as like
That's a quit.
That's what you quit.
Yeah,
You
but I was
quit working there.
but I was at the end of my contract anyway. The
But
timing
you
just
still
worked
stopped.
out.
You still quit. They would have brought you
guess.
back.
Huh?
So, like,
They would have brought you back.
Yeah.
the first job I ever
Okay.
had, I was working under the table at a tanning salon. I got fired from that job. That's the only job I've ever been fired
Because they
from.
couldn't get you out from under the table.
Well, that or out of the tanning bed while I was working. They were like, "You can't do this. There's people here. You got to stop working here, man. I don't know what to tell you."
But that's like how, because you barely see tanning places anymore because most of them went out of business because the girls were just tanning all the time.
Well, I was 16,
Right,
working
that's who
under
they
the
hire.
table, and this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, screw this. Nobody's in here. I'm gonna tan. I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna
That's
do
what my
whatever I
sister
wanna
did when
do.
she
Yeah.
worked at a tan. That's what every one of those girls does.
So, I got fired from that job, and then I started working at a country club, and then I quit working at the country club to work at American Eagle, and I did that all throughout high school, and then even summers in college, and I didn't quit that until I got the bartending gig, and then I moved back to Cleveland. So a lot of mine revolve around moving, where it's like, hey, I don't live here anymore, so I obviously can't work here
Yeah, I
anymore.
guess I've
kind of
quit a
thing.
couple jobs. I was really drunk when we were playing this game. So
Yeah.
now in the cold light of day, it's coming to me that I guess when you just move on to a different
Yeah.
gig in this business.
That's quitting, when you're like, hey, I'm not going to work here anymore.
Right.
It doesn't have to be some big show.
I guess
but, like,
I've absolutely never gotten to do the big show thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Or angrily quit. I guess that's what I think of people like, will take off their apron and slam it to the ground
I'm out.
and say, yeah, I'm out of here. So when you get fired at a tanner, do they like, hand over your bronzer
No, they
and
just
your
stopped-
goggles?
Not at all.
Return that sunshine.
It's like, I'm going to need your
sunshine.
badge and your gun. It's just bronzer and
They just hand you bleach, like,
Take it all
take
off.
that tan off you.
that's right. Yeah.
No, they just stopped scheduling me because I would call in, like, I don't remember the exact days, but let's say I would call in Friday night and they would tell me what days they needed me the following week. So they'd be, okay, we need you next Monday, Wednesday, Saturday from 4 to 10.
Yep.
And then that's when I would go in. So it was like 3 weeks in a row that I called. And they're like, no, we don't need you. We don't need you. And then the third week, I was like, is something going on? Like, is something wrong? And then the lady was like, yeah, we're going to let you go. Like, you're not a very good employee. So you're not going to work here anymore. So it was like,
Well, you didn't quit then.
no, I said that's the only job I've been fired from.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's the only job I've been fired from. And then I Yeah, and then I moved on to different retail jobs. And then after bartending, the last bartending job I quit was to take this job that I quit. I was working too. I was working at the Winking Lizard and House of Blues, and I quit both of them to come here and do stand-up. So,
Alan, was Bill near the fight at the game on Saturday?
Oh, I didn't.
You
no,
see that?
I did not see the fight.
Channel 19 had some video on it.
We were way up.
Oh, he's got a chokehold.
Well, sometimes the heat makes you do strange things. A wild fight at the Guardians game last night leaves fans shocked, and it was, as you see, all on camera. And, of course, it was buzzing on social media.
It left 0 people shocked, by the way. A fight at the ball game when it's 100 degrees out.
100 degrees out, yeah.
Left bystanders shocked. It did. No, Bill was there on Saturday.
that's like an old man. Those are
Friday.
2 old men.
Yeah, he like hits the guy in the top of the head like boing, like a cartoon, and the guy just flops on his ass on the step there.
Those are 2 pet paws.
Yeah, there are a couple of gray goateed, balding dudes in Guardians jerseys, and they had too much to drink. And
I call them the Indians. So do I. And then they fight.
Uh-huh. That's right. So you got fired from Blockbuster, the upscale restaurant and the hotel. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. We were playing this game. I was thinking, I've been doing this for so long that I'm like, I've never. But yeah, you're right, I guess, now that I think about it. I've quit plenty.
Yeah.
I've quit a lot of jobs.
You've quit
You were
every
pretty
job
drunk.
I
except
was
this
drunk
one.
on Saturday night, yeah.
Quit this one right now.
I'm not going to do that.
Quit today.
No, I won't do that.
I dare you.
I would love to. I'd love to drive off into the sunset, but I have too many responsibilities, Mary.
No, you don't.
Yes,
Name
I do.
one.
I've got children.
No.
I've got a wife.
Gay.
Gay. Don't tell her. And it's really going to go south.
She knows.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I'm sure that there's a third celebrity somewhere who died. One of the Pirates of the Caribbean died. Some pro, not one of the main guys.
Oh.
But that's one of his credits. Oh, a guy from Pirates of the Caribbean died.
What's his name?
He's like a pro surfer who played one of the pirates. I don't know. But he died in a shark attack.
What's his name?
I don't know. Google Pirates of the Caribbean shark attack. It'll come up. It's like a Samoan name or something. But the woman who, the Latin American Marge.
Tamayo Perry.
There you go. I wouldn't even know if it was different. The Latin American Marge Simpson has passed away. A woman, the voice of Marge Simpson in Latin America, dubbing Marge on The Simpsons to Spanish for Latin American audiences is a woman named Nancy McKenzie. Boy, I wouldn't have picked that one out, but she voiced Marge Simpson for many years. She was 81. That's how old Julie Kavner sounds now, by the way. Over there on The Simpsons, and listen, when you've had a cast on one show for 30 years, 30 plus years, people's voices are going to sound different. Yeah. But a lot of the voices on that show don't sound that different.
No.
Harry Shearer's Burns is different because whatever. But Julie Kavner, Jesus Christ.
Homer still sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, Castellaneta's still killing it. Azaria sounds good. The
kids sound good.
Sound the same.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of Nancy McKenzie dubbing The Simpsons into Spanish.
Rápido, niños. No quiero que lleguen tarde a su primer día de escuela. Oh, ¿qué tal esa pancita?
That's still a pretty good Marge.
Yeah.
Gordis.
Because that was Homer, right?
No, that's when she
Sound
tells
like Jesus.
That's when she tells, remember when she tells Lisa, oh, somebody's getting a little chunky, and then Lisa's head explodes because Marge puts her own stuff onto her as a body shaming episode.
That's
And
a later episode. I don't think
Lisa
I saw that
hears her voice like chunky.
Oh.
So the Marge Simpson, the woman who dubbed it into Spanish for many, many years, is gone. And then a guy named Tony Cakes is dead. And I would love to think that this was planned because it would make for a great, great story. But I don't think it was planned. It's just an amazing, I'm going to come out and say it, coincidence. An amazing coincidence. That a former mob boss in the Genovese crime family in New York, right? One of the big five. A guy whose name was Anthony Canigliaro.
Careful.
He was 86 years old, and for a long time, he was the boss. He was Tony Cakes, or Tony the Dessert Man. They called him Tony Cakes because for a long time...
You got that ass.
For a long time is...
Oh, Tony Cakes over here.
Hey, here comes Tony Two Cheeks.
He don't do nothing but squats.
You could set your drink on it
You do a
and
Russian
walk away.
deadlift. Russian deadlift. It's the exercise and the killing.
Tony Cakes.
Oh, Tony Cakes over here.
No, it's because his legit business was a cake business. He was selling Italian ices and gelatos. Anyway, this guy gets hit by a New York Department of Transportation truck.
Oh.
He was crossing an intersection, and something happened, and the truck hit him and decapitated him and sent his head like yards away from the rest of his body. And obviously, they don't know. He's an old guy. And then they ID'd him as Tony Cakes. They said
They must have been flying if they decapitated. Like, that's crazy.
So the driver was inconsolable. Anthony Canigliaro, known by Tony Cakes, died in an accidental hit by a city Department of Transportation truck.
His family's about to get paid, dude.
Plowed into him at a Brooklyn crosswalk. And he's the former acting captain for the Genovese crime family. I wonder when he was a big deal, because a lot of these old guys, you know, if they lived long enough to not, you know, the mafia is not what it once was, but I mean, these guys, a lot of them, you know, died in the hospital if they didn't die in prison. And he might have been in and out, who knows? But Tony Cakes. But imagine if that had been a planned hit. I mean, they're not going to probably go after an 86-year-old guy at this point. But imagine if they had paid, hey, just run him over, right? I put a scare into him.
Turn his brains into frosting.
Well,
But does he even have a case? Because he was walking when you don't walk.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, all the articles were like, he spent his whole life looking over his shoulder, but he didn't look both ways before he crossed the intersection. 92nd and Dahlgren Place, where he was fatally struck. He was a kind, gentle, soft-spoken guy, always trying to help people. It's got to be nice to be...
He always had a real good head on his shoulder.
But it's got to be wild. It's got to be wild to be like an elderly mafioso when most people don't know you. You know, when you were ice picking dudes in the alley and stuff, where they just know you as like the old guy from around the corner who was a nice guy.
But it's also just crazy anytime an 86-year-old dies,
Not from
not
natural
from like
causes.
natural causes or like something, you know, just some health reason. Like, nobody expects to go, hey, I heard your grandpa died. What happened? You know,
He's hit by a bus.
hey, he got hit by a bus and his head came off.
Yeah. But that is natural causes.
I mean, it's so
No, it
naturally.
is
It's so
not.
naturally.
It's called
if you get-
inertia.
No.
If you got hit by a F-550, naturally, you're going to die. But yeah,
Yes,
it's not a
natural cause. Everything is natural causes. You know, if somebody dies of cancer, you can still say they died of natural causes. You know, the truck didn't stop. It hit him.
It's
That's natural. It's physics. Took his head clean off. Well, I don't know if it was clean, but, you know.
great Nick Swartzen bit. It's like, what happened to your grandma? She flipped her vet.
Yeah. Hey, Woody.
Ellen,
Yes.
como tu día, hermano? Lo siento para la Bart Simpson.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
That's about all Spanish I got in
Oh,
me.
good. Okay. well.
But you're talking about getting fired from jobs. I've only been fired once myself.
That's shocking.
And
How many times have you been broken up with, though?
Kind of like it's been.
You did what?
And it was a hot week like this, and we were tearing off coal tar pitch and fiberglass roofs. And I had been missing a few days. And my foreman finally said, God damn it, why, Woody, why are you only showing up 3 days a week? And I said, because I can't afford to live on 2. So,
Ah, he did it.
Take that, the man.
Woody did it. Take that. Right. And that guy was never heard from again. Woody hit him with his truck, and the guy's head came clean off. He's like, hey, what? All right, I got a break. So R.I.P. Nancy McKenzie, Latin American Marge, and